Let's take a closer look at Hera Syndulla A-Wing from the Micro Galaxy Squadron line.
Villa Varykino, living the Star Wars life.
Hello there, and welcome back to the Villa Varykino YouTube channel. So today I have another unboxing from the Micro Galaxy Squadron line by Jazwares. This one is Hera Syndulla A-Wing, which is a chase variant from the second wave. As you can see there, it has a fabulous silver foil sticker, noting that this is a rare, one of 15,000. So very excited to be able to find this one locally from one of our favorite toy stores. And yeah, so we were able to get this for retail. Very, very exciting. I know the 15,000 are a little bit hit and miss, but generally much easier to find than the 5,000 rares with the gold sticker. And as you can see, this one is from Series 2 there on the side, so it does not have a launch edition sticker anywhere on the package. So before I open it up and take a closer look, just going to go through the packaging. This is of course sort of the standard packaging that we see most of the sort of mid-range vehicles from this line, very close to the packaging from Wave 1. They didn't really mix it up too much. So of course we have the vehicle itself in a large plastic window bubble here on the front. No sort of blind boxes here like the recent move from Hasbro with the Black Series. We have a little sort of insert sticker showing that the little Hera figure will fit inside the cockpit. We have the little figure there at the front, very cute. We have the cardboard insert at the bottom of the window that has that foil that says Hera Syndulla A-Wing, and this is number 0035. So looking around at the side, window continues. We can see a little bit of the background card art. Take a closer look when we get that open. Now we can take a look at the back. So we have this kind of hologram blueprint style that seems to be pretty consistent across the line. We have a little color insert shot showing some movement. It looks like the cockpit opens here and a landing gear here. We have sort of a collectible cutout blueprint card if you wish, or you can leave your packaging intact. And we have some of the other vehicles from Wave 2. Yoda's Jedi Starfighter, a battle damaged TIE, and one of the other chase vehicles from this line is Sabine Wren's sort of decoed up TIE fighter. That's very cool. Again, just the plain window on the front we can see through. There's quite a lot of gap there between the figure and the bubble. I think they want these to be somewhat consistent in size, so I guess this one is a little bit more flat than some of the other vehicles. So that's just kind of funny to see there from the side. We can see a little bit more of the card art there. Now taking a quick look at the bottom, we have the assortment number there if you are keeping track of these, and of course just the standard copyright and Jazwares and everything like that on the bottom. So let's just take one closer look of that rare sticker there. It's very cool. Got most of the rares from Wave 1 and we're certainly trying our best to collect up as many of these chase variants as we can. A little bit disappointing at that Wave 2. They generally picked mostly the female characters to have the rare variants. For me personally, I like collecting the female characters, so some of the rarer figures in Wave 2 included Sabine's TIE, Hera Syndulla A-Wing, and Ahsoka Tano's Jedi Starfighter. So I'm on a bit of a mission to try and collect all those female characters up and their vehicles. So hope the force is with me in that respect. So I guess that is a pretty good look at the packaging. So I guess we're just gonna have to open it up and take a closer look. So let's get on with that. Okay, so now I have removed the front bubble from the backing card along the top and the sides. I like to keep them all together just because I like to sort of preserve the stickers and the backing card and everything all together. So let's take the bubble out and take a closer look at the vehicle itself. Okay, so we have a TIE fighter here, lots of TIE fighters. This is Sabine's TIE fighter. That's kind of interesting. And in here, in the insert, we have an X-Wing. That's quite cool and colourful. These are quite fun to keep, even if you don't keep all the packaging, because there's always that kind of hidden bonus colourful art there. So I'm just going to put this in the back so we can take a closer look at the vehicle itself. So hopefully this one pops out fairly easily. We've got the little Hera figure here. I'm just going to pop her off to one side. And let's see how hard this one is to get out. Okay, nice and easy, that's good. So we can just see that little sticker there showing how Hera fits into the cockpit. I'm just going to pop this on the floor and out of the way. So now we can take a closer look at the relatively small A-Wing. It's, you know, a smaller vehicle. It is sort of like a one-man fighter. This is, you know, generally smaller than a snowspeeder or anything like that. But it is a little bit smaller than some of the other vehicles in the range. So perhaps the price point should be a little lower compared to some of the other vehicles from the light armor class range. But let's take a look at the details. So we've got pretty tidy paint app. We've got this sort of orangey red tone paint here, some white. We've got different colors on the sides. It's just overall pretty tidy. This one doesn't have like a weathered wash over it that some of the X-Wings and some of the other vehicles do, which is quite fun. And certainly something that you can apply yourself if you like that kind of slightly grimier look. But I find, personally for me, it can be a bit heavy. So for those vehicles that do have a weathering, I like to see them in person so I can decide which ones, because they can be quite varied. Some of the vehicles in those ranges, it's quite heavy, some of them are quite light, some of them are sort of a little bit more on one side than the other, so I do like to see them, but no worries here, it's quite clean. Which is kind of fitting. This is from Rebels. You know, we've got Hera Syndulla here. They're not going to add too much sort of extra detail. Animated shows tend to be a little bit sort of cleaner and crisp just for the sake of the cost of animation. We can see the engine at the back with this cool sort of two-tone color here. This is painted over top. We can see that this is one whole piece of plastic. So it's like the ends of the engine fins have sort of been dipped in. And I think that looks pretty nice and tidy. We have got the copyright information here on the underside. And according to the box, it looks like this is the little landing gear that just flips out. Goes to about there, so it doesn't go out a long way. And does it want to click in? It just kind of wants to, I wonder if, yes, okay. So yes, it does click. It was a little bit stiff, but it clicks into place there. So I can place it. And it's going to stay there and look pretty good, pretty even and balanced. So let's take a closer look at this cockpit. I'm not quite sure how it's going to open. Maybe if I get underneath at the side. A little stiff. There isn't like a standard sort of place to get your finger underneath. Okay, let's see if I can come in here from the side. Well, this is going to be a fiddly one. I wonder if, does it slide back? Some of the movable features of these vehicles are a little bit harder to open and close, which is unfortunate. You shouldn't have to really wrestle with these things. I'm going to have to look. I think it just hinges back. Just take a quick look just so I don't accidentally ruin this. It looks like it should just pivot back. It won't slide back. I was kind of hoping that maybe I could just press on the back and get it to pop up, but that's really stiff. Okay, let's just go in. Okay, finally got there. Fingernails for the win. Okay, so now we can get that open and we can see the cockpit inside. They generally fit just one standard figure. There's no sort of specific paint app in here. It's just part of the colored plastic. And then we can see the sort of the slightly green tinted translucent plastic used for the cockpit, so we can see when we put a figure inside. So let's take a closer look at the Hera figure. So she's safe here in her little plastic bubble. Let's get her out. The back of that cardboard has the same sort of little blueprint like the back of the box, which is always fun. Okay. So these figures are always really tiny, but very, very cute. So we can see she's got her sort of grey face and leku, classic brown details. They've even done her sort of ear cup details of her white headpiece here. Orange flight suit, gloves, boots, and some of the ejection harness stripes there. So overall, pretty tidy considering the scale of this. We get the basic details. It's even got her little holster sculpted on her boot there. So very, very tiny. And she should have the same articulation as most of the other figures in the line. I do notice some of them are a little stiff in the shoulders, but she seems to raise her arms okay. Her Twi'lek Leku are sculpted into her back, so you don't need to worry about accidentally pinging them off and breaking them. And she should be there articulated at the hips, so we can put her into a little cockpit sitting pose. So let's pop her in. And I'm expecting this one to go in fairly easily. There we go. It's a nice wide cockpit and she sits in there very nicely. So hopefully you can see that there on camera. So overall, a pretty sort of simple vehicle, but the first A-Wing in this line, and they're going with an animated show one, which is quite cool. I hope we do see some from the movies. You know, there's a lot of variable sort of original trilogy vehicles, TIE fighters. There are different movie and animated Y-Wings and the like, so very cool. I'm very excited to get another female character. So I'm not going to completely close her cockpit because I know I'm going to get that stuck. And it's almost kind of fun to have this one displayed. I know with the TIE fighters, once you put the person in the cockpit, you can't really see them, but I like how colourful she is sitting in that. So I'm probably just going to leave her sitting in there because I don't want to get that stuck again. But she's very, very cool. Slightly smaller vehicle. So I'm just going to pop this out of the way. And I've got another vehicle to take a comparison with, but I'm just going to have a look because I noticed something interesting. This here is the Sabine Chase TIE Fighter. And this is, oops, the packaging for the Hera. But we can see behind, on the backing card for Hera's A-Wing, we have Sabine's orange TIE Fighter. And on the back of the Sabine TIE Fighter packaging, we have an A-Wing, which is kind of interesting. They kind of flipped, and I don't know if that's like they just pick random art to just slap behind different vehicles, or whether that was, you know, because the back is printed correctly, so it's not like the wrong backing card or anything like that, but it's just kind of interesting that they've put an A-Wing behind the TIE Fighter and the TIE Fighter behind the A-Wing. So as we can see, these are both Rebels vehicles, which is very, very cool. So let's take a closer look at Sabine's TIE next to Hera's A-Wing. So these are the same price point. These are both light armor class vehicles, and you can see just one looks a lot bigger than the other. And to be sure, they are, you know, relatively to scale within the whole line and to each other. But just from a price point perspective, this doesn't seem like quite as much plastic as this one. I'm still very excited to have both of them. I was a little bit, you know, disappointed when I heard that these two characters were going to be Chase variants within Wave 2, because I knew I wanted both of them, but the Force was with me, and I found both of these locally on store shelves. So I was very, very fortunate because I loved Rebels. I love the characters in Rebels, so I really wanted to be able to add these specific ones to my collection. So I'm very, very glad. If you want to see a further sort of more in-depth unboxing of this Sabine's TIE Fighter, do check in the description down below. I have a full unboxing video linked there for you if you want to check that out, because this one's a really fun one. I think if you're a fan of Rebels, that this one is should be on your wish list. It's very cool. This one, I love A-Wings, you know, they're sort of classic original trilogy. It's maybe not quite as sort of eye-catching on your display shelf compared to this one, but I think it's an important one. Speaking of sort of Rebels and Hera, I really, really hope we see the Ghost and some of the other sort of iconic ships from that series, like the Phantom, and just have some of the other sort of characters. It would be fun to have a full range of the little minifigs to make up the whole Phoenix Squadron crew. That would be really cool, you know, tiny little chopper or something like that. But I'm quite excited to see animated show material showing up so early in the Micro Galaxy Squadron line, with the exception of the Galaxy's Edge exclusive version of sort of Rey's Millennium Falcon. There isn't really much in the way of sequel vehicles in this line as yet. So it's really interesting that we're getting animated series stuff before we're really seeing a lot of Resistance or First Order specific vehicles, because the Millennium Falcon's pretty much the same as the regular standard sort of A New Hope edition, just with that radar dish and a few different micro figures there. So I'm so excited to see animated content from this line, and I hope we see more. I love the Ghost. I wish that Hasbro would make a version of it. I know it would be a large vehicle in the sort of the similar realm as the Millennium Falcon, but perhaps we will see it here for fans who really want a collectible of that ship. So this one I think is going to be a great one to pick up if you like the A-Wings, or you're a fan of Rebels, or you're just trying to be completionist with this line. It's not a terribly big one, but I think it's certainly one that I'm really excited to have in my collection. So you can see these two. I'll just hold them up a little closer so you can get sort of a sense of the scale of these together. Not that they would be chasing each other, because this is obviously sort of a stolen sort of rebel TIE fighter as it was, especially on that art. You can see the sort of the rebel and the Imperial TIE fighters sort of fighting there, which is kind of fun. But very excited for these to be part of this line and now part of my collection. So I hope you enjoyed this unboxing and review. We'll have more closer up photos of this vehicle on the blog, which will be linked down below if you want to check those out. We've got other unboxings from the Micro Galaxy Squadron line, including the recently discovered Boonta Eve Battle Pack. Check the description below if you want to see more of that one, featuring some very cool pod races from the Phantom Menace. I'm definitely hoping we see more Phantom Menace content as well from this line. I want Naboo starships, so all the girl characters and sort of the aligned starships, but I think Hera looks fabulous in her A-Wing. So thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to catch more videos of Star Wars unboxings and Star Wars fun. Catch you in the next one, and may the Force be with you.
If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a like, check out our other videos, and subscribe for alerts about new uploads. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.